Mostly we're looking at people who have just left university,
Yes.
people who are young, ambitious, and then creative, and people who are driven by passion and a need to create an impact in their communities.
Right.
So from after creating the books, then we go on further to develop what we call the libraries, the community libraries.
Okay.
Then again, when it comes to the furniture, to the design of the library, to the design of the literacy manuals, everything, again, we look for fresh graduates who are in the same field with a need to create impact. And then from there, we go in the communities, build the libraries, carry out the trainings. Now, when it comes to the communities, as much as we're focusing on early literacy development, we also look at the parents. Because you know it very well that there is no way a child will fall in love with a book if the parent doesn't love reading, yeah? Or if it's not part of the home, because children do not listen, they imitate. Everything that we do is what they turn out doing. So what we do is that we carry out...
Could you maybe help me with my children? Because when I go to sleep, I want them to imitate me and go to sleep, but they don't go to sleep. So how can we sort of make this our jokes aside?
Yeah. But also that goes back to early years of development.
Yes.
So when we're in the communities, we carry out trainings that mostly focus on the parents, grandmothers, caregivers, influencers of these children.
Yes.
One, because we want them to understand that the environment that we create for our children ends up affecting them. Yeah? And also for them to appreciate the fact that everything that you do with a child before they're 6 years old is what they turn out to be when they're 18. Here we have that culture of when you're 18, you're expected to act a certain way, to behave a certain way, but you were never groomed in that way. For instance, I'm expected to give a speech at 18 and look at people in the eyes, but when I was 6, I was not expected to look at the adults in the eyes because then that's offensive.
So the saying goes, charity begins at home.
At home,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly. Mm-hmm.
So for us, it's very important that parents understand that the most important years of their children are the ages between 0 and 6 years old. So we pass on that message and then encourage them using positive psychology, because all of us at the end of the day want our children to have a better life. So then we ask them, what do you want your child to be? Do you want them to be a doctor, a president, or anything they want them to be? And then it's more of, what do you think those people's parents did that we're missing out on? There is this great saying by Maya Angelou that do the best that you can until you know better. When you know better, do better. So that's what we assume when we're in the communities, that maybe they're raising their children from the perspective that they know. So if we add a little bit of knowledge to that, then we do believe that their impact in terms of early literacy and exposing children to reading can actually develop and increase.
We'll be right back after the commercial where we'll talk a little bit more with Lee and Margot on Smart Toto.
My name is Margot Haspa, founder, Smart Toto Publishing Limited. This is us. 2.5 years ago, we started by writing authentic African stories to encourage children to fall in love with books. 1.5 years later, we opened our first community library. This year, 2019, in partnership with 2 Belgian companies, Tiger Power and Close the Gap, we are launching our community e-hubs in Chenjeje district, Uganda. Community e-hubs are containerized, solar-powered centers that promote social development. These e-hubs are able to power over 200 houses, power the millers, power the doctors, and power all the schools. These centers are also training grounds for early literacy development, digital training, and hands-on skilling for both the youth and the adults in these communities. With the community e-hubs, we are looking at community development throughout the lives of these children, because 15 years from now, Patrick and Henry are going to be the youth in these communities, coming from flourishing communities, well invested in during their early years of development. And then 30 years from now, these 2 little boys are going to be empowered parents with the right skills, the right mindset to cause transformational change in these communities for years and generations to come.
On December the 8th, 2017, in partnership with Stanbic Bank, we launched our first community library here in Impigi at the Calicut Casamay Foundation. Over the course of the year, we have recorded attendance at over 800 kids and 400 adults. We have also been involved in local awareness campaigns targeting a reduction in defilement cases in Mpigi.
We want to work with you on every level of this project. If you're passionate about early literacy development, if your passion is digital training, if you feel the need to join our mission, if your organization is drawn to our cause, then please join our vision, join our story, work with us, and together, let's empower communities.
Welcome back to the Cederic Live Show. I'm here with Lee and Margot discussing Smart Toto, a social enterprise that actually focuses on learning. There's something, another word.
Early
here.
literacy development.
Early literacy. Now, a question I have, Lee, for you is, I actually have two questions. So I'm going to ask you these two questions. First of all, how big is your social enterprise? Where are you actually situated in the country? Where have you got to in terms of reach?
We have a number of libraries in Uganda. One in particular, which is nearby, is in Mpigi.
Okay. It's not very far, it's up the road.
Yeah. And then we have another one in Fort Portal as well, which was a recent one. We have 7 libraries altogether, but we've kind of evolved the libraries, and now we're calling them pop-up libraries. You know, they have quotes on the wall. I mean, Margot can obviously.
What his meaning to say is that with our libraries, we're very intentional. Mm-hmm. So when you walk into the library, the first thing that you see is on the wall is the shelf,
yes,
which is the word read itself.
Yeah.
One, it's very important that for the little ones below 3 years old, we don't believe they are reading,
okay,
but they are learning to assimilate and associate with letters.
Yes.
So the moment they walk in and there's 4 letters on the wall, they are learning to recognize these letters. Yeah. And then the ones who can read, who are learning how to read between 6 and 3, then they can start playing with the words R put with E and A. What does that mean? It means read. Then the ones who can read, and the word itself is inviting you to read. Then inside this shelf, you have relatable content. Then on the walls of the ceilings, we have very inspirational messages. We use positive affirmations because we believe whenever we are stuck or anything like that, we look up to the sky for God. Mm-hmm. So in our libraries, every ceiling, you have things that, yes, you can. You're made of greatness. You're here to make a change. We believe in you. Keep going. Things like that. Because every time they're in a library or they're having a bad day and then they look up and see a message like that, it's like God is talking to me. Somebody out there is talking to me.
Positive reinforcement. So, quick question. You have seven libraries at the moment.
Yes.
So you have a franchise model of sorts where you go out and you empower the youth in that particular community, yes, to run that particular library.
Yes, they're more like CBOs.
What is a CBO?
Community-owned, community-based organizations.
Oh, community-based organizations.
So we partner with organizations that are already in the communities doing different kinds of works, and then we come in and empower them with educational materials, literacy, and learnings in that field.
Right.
And then we leave them to run that, to keep as an addition to what they're already doing.
How many kids have gone through your program, this Smart Toto program? Do you have a figure, or it's sort of like an ongoing process?
We're probably up to around 8,000 at the moment.
8,000?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of people.
It's huge,
yes,
yeah. It's amazing that we can impact, or at least, you know, have these books and our training, our libraries accessible to so many kids.
How old is the organization, just as a matter of interest?
3 years now.
3 years?
Yes.
So some of these kids have actually grown up. They've,
some of them have actually, some of them have passed the P7 because of, and excel very well because of these trainings from the libraries, because in the libraries they learn how to read, they learn how to spell, and then they learn how to write. And this is the foundation for any subject or any form of excellence in life. And then also with the libraries, what we've done is that now we've scaled it up. That's why
Yeah.
the numbers have increased, because now we've gone into more of community e-hubs that are
E-hubs, yeah.
solar-powered containers.
So we had some challenges, obviously, partnering with NGOs that were currently doing work in the community.
Yeah.
Because obviously we're limited with how many NGOs are doing work, firstly.
Right.
And then